Hey, how's it going? I wanted to make a quick video just basically showing off how I craft amulets. I've been making a few of these bad boys that I've sold for a decent amount. This one right here is only about 2x worth. This one's about 5 exalts. This one I'm hoping to get about 9 exalts. Then we have something like this, which is really great. A dexterity skill gems, physical skill gems with global crit. It's a low roll, it's only tier 5 for global crit, but it's still okay. As well as it has a suffix for more stats. I put strength and dexterity on there. And it has 42 intelligence. So these are the kind of amulets that I'm making. This one right here is interesting. It has 2 different penetrations, lightning resistance and elemental resistance, for a total of 20% penetration of elemental resistance if you're using lightning, along with some stats, strength, dexterity, and 13 to all attributes. So it's got a bunch of stats, and it has damage pen. And all of these amulets are being crafted with 2 main ways. Some of these are being crafted with Awakener Orbs. The more expensive ones are being crafted with Awakener Orbs. Some of these are not being crafted with Awakener Orbs. This one right here, which I'm hoping to sell for 9 exalts, was not crafted with an Awakener Orb, which means the amount of currency invested for this craft was much lower compared to an Awakener Orb craft. But what we're actually doing is preparing for an Awakener Orb craft. And the way we do this is by purchasing the base of the amulet, which is a very simple search. It's nothing too involved. All you need to do is set up item level 82. This is important. You have to have at least 82, and we're looking for a Hunter Influence amulet. Now what I've gone ahead and done here is removed these implicits. So I've searched for a not field, and I've added these implicits because I don't want to have these amulets. They're not very good bases. I'm not interested in those amulets. And once you search, you'll find that a lot of these are between 5 to 15 exalts. A lot of these come up for other bases that I might want to filter out as well. But for now, I'm just scrolling down until I find a base that I'm looking to work with, which is going to either be a multi-stat implicit or the all attribute implicit. When you have an Onyx amulet giving all attributes, that could potentially go to anybody who's looking for, whatever their build is. If you get the more specific ones like only intelligence or only dexterity, you're kind of bottlenecking yourself into a market where maybe the person is literally only searching for the Onyx or only searching for some other kind. Therefore, they're not even going to see yours because you have the wrong base. So we're getting a little bit more expensive here. I would prefer not to spend 20C on this. The rate that I like to shoot for is about 15C. Oh, this one's great. So only 10C for an negate amulet. Hopefully he responds. I don't think he's going to respond. He's probably getting spammed. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to set this up. I'm going to show you how to set it up to only get what you're looking for. So you can go dexterity and intelligence on the implicit, all attributes for the implicit, strength and intelligence I think is the other one. So these are, so if you're setting it up with a count, this means it'll do any one of these will be added to the search. And now we are only going to get the bases we're actually interested in. This guy I already messaged. I think I already messaged him as well, and I already messaged him. For the sake of the video, I'm going to buy this. I would usually not buy this because 19C is a bit steep for the base, but in the grand scheme of things, paying 5 more C for your base is not really going to hurt your profits in the long run. Most important thing is to make sure it is single influenced. You don't really want this to be a double influenced item, so it only has Hunter, and it is item level 82, so it is good enough. Of course, higher would be better, but 82 is minimum, so we can work with this. Now let's go ahead and check Craft of Exile to see why we are choosing Hunter. If you go to Craft of Exile and you search for item level 82 amulets, and you type in level of all skill gems, these are the modifiers we are mostly looking to hit. And you'll notice that Hunter actually has 4 different ones. A Hunter amulet can roll strength skill gems, intelligence, dexterity, and chaos. Warlord can hit fire and physical, Redeemer can only hit cold, and Crusader can only hit lightning. So what this means is, if you scroll down, for example, the Hunter Amulets has a 250 weight to get Chaos, so you'll get Chaos more likely. This is the least valuable one. And then you have a 200 weight to hit Dexterity, Intelligence, and Strength, respectively. If you total all of this up together, if you only total up the ones that you would like to hit, dexterity, intelligence, or strength, it's a 600 weight, which isn't that bad. And sometimes you can make a craft work with the chaos. Sometimes. It's usually something you would like to just re-roll over, but it's okay to get occasionally if you get some other really good modifiers on it. But what we're looking for is dexterity, intelligence, and strength. Compare that to something like a Warlord amulet, for example. And the truth about Warlord is that the physical is really the only valuable one. Fire skill gems is only used in a handful of niche builds, and one of those builds would also like to have +1 to intelligence skill gems, which is the more expensive one from Hunter. So even if you roll fire on a Warlord amulet, you're going to need to either craft or purchase a intelligence skill gems +1 to Awakener Orb, and then you're getting into expensive craft with a potentially not that expensive return. So Warlord is not the best to start with, and of course Crusader and Redeemer are also not the best to start with because both of these are also only a 250 weight, so it's going to take you a long time to craft them in general, and to be honest, it's just not that valuable. So Hunter is the easiest thing to start with because you have a much greater chance of hitting something with only a few, maybe 100 or 200 alts spent. If you're curious, so I'm going to go ahead and add the +1 to dexterity, intelligence, and strength. I'm going to leave chaos out of this just because, for the sake of understanding what it's going to take for us to get the good ones. Crafting this with Orb Alteration means rolling any of these 3 mods is going to be an average of 159 alterations and 46 augmentations, and it's an average cost of 28C. So really, not that bad. An average cost of 28C for rolling one of those 3 mods. And the cool thing about this is, if you really want to, you can stop there. Once you get the +1 to strength, intelligence, or dexterity, you can honestly sell that amulet to somebody who's going to look to craft on it further, and then you can continue with the new base. That's a option for easy profit if you would like to, or you can continue watching and I'll show you how to make that into an actually good amulet, like the ones I'm selling for multiple exalts each. What I like to do personally is I will start by scouring it and then adding a catalyst. There's a lot of options here, but the most obvious one is adding the intrinsic for more attributes. The great thing about catalysts is when the amulet is scoured and it's a white item, you can add only 4 catalysts total to get the full 20% value. So the thing about catalysts is a lot of people will finish the craft with catalysts, like, oh look, this thing has a lot of this modifier, let me use catalysts to make it even better. If you get lucky with beginning the craft with catalysts, you can save a lot of money on catalysts because some of these are very expensive. For example, a Ferdal catalyst is 5C each, which means if you really want to use these on an amulet at the end of a craft, it's going to cost you an extra 100C to use all 20 to get the most value out of it. So I just like to begin with catalysts. And now we will go to the alteration spamming portion. What you're looking for, keep in mind, I mentioned we are either using an Awakener Orb or we are not. If you get a +1, then you would like to continue that with an Awakener Orb. If you do not get a +1, it's possible to continue crafting with Beast Crafting, which I'll talk about later. And that is only if you ever get multiple high tier rolls. So if you get a couple tier 1 rolls that look like they work together, look like they're good to continue with, that's when you will stop at that point. So what I'm doing is I'm going to transmute it. That's a tier 7 mana, so bad. But what you're going to want to do now is use an augmentation. So when it only has 1 mod, you augment it, you get something else. At this point, you have to alteration it. If one of these mods was a hunter mod that we are not looking for, or let's say I begin, let's say like this 1 mod right here is a hunter mod, right? If you were to augment it and you were to get a good hunter mod, like let's say it has the projectiles mod, which is not very good for awakening, but then I augment it and I get something else that's hunter that I would like to awaken. At that point, you're kind of screwed because the Awakener Orb is going to remove one of those 2 random mods. So you don't ever want to augment something if there's already a influenced mod that you would not like to Awakener Orb. Just because if you hit the one you would like, if you hit the good one, like intelligence skill gems or something, then you're setting yourself up for a 50-50 chance instead of making it guaranteed Anyways, all you're going to want to do is continue alteration spamming until you see something that is either really good or it is one of the mods you're looking for. Tier 3 global crit multiplier could be okay, but not with fire damage to attacks. Tier 2 global crit. Okay, low tier 7 max life, not very good. So something like this, right? Tier 2 intelligence, which is pretty good. 41 max life is not great, but if I regal this and I get a really good roll, this amulet could be worth continuing with. And I get 39 strength, so not great. Tier 4 strength is not great. So now at this point, I'm just gonna scour it and restart with the transmute. Okay, this is decent. Tier 2 all attributes is nice, and 28% increased armor is okay. So this is also a point where I would consider regaling, and we get a regen life. So these are all decent, but in my opinion, not really worth continuing. Just to give you an idea, I will price check this quickly, and all of these mods together, well, these aren't on the market, so let's just lower this a little bit, and we're looking at only about 10 to 20C, so not very interesting. I'm gonna scour this again and transmute. This is okay. A tier 1 life's obviously good. Mana gained on kill is okay. It's sometimes good for certain builds, and we get a tier 4 global crit chance. I will go ahead and check on this as well, just to see, but once again, nothing too exciting, so it's not going to be really worth continuing in my opinion. Okay, tier 1 accuracy is nice. Spell damage is, these two mods are good, but they don't really work well together, honestly. I guess it's okay for a cast on crit build because you need accuracy and you're going to be doing spell damage, so it could be okay. Max energy shield, tier 4, not exciting. This amulet is not very exciting. And of course, if we check the mods, it's not looking that great. So unfortunately, we will scour it one more time. Oh, look at this, +1 to all attributes. That's exciting. Okay, this is actually pretty good. So 43 cold res and damage penetrating elemental resistances is nice. So this is actually a pretty good amulet so far. Hopefully we get a nice regal and we get tier 1 spell damage. All right, now we are in a situation where we can actually do something with this. If we check the mods real quick, damage penetrating with the spell damage, and we are looking at a pretty hefty amulet, combined with the resistance, of course. And on this base, it's looking okay. I believe this is worth crafting. Now here is where we're going to proceed. Because this is an amulet where we are not going to be using the Awakener Orb, we didn't get the +1s. What we are able to do, we have an open prefix and we have 2 open suffixes. Beast crafting is an excellent avenue to continue this amulet. And we will begin beast crafting by crafting a bad modifier. We are not going to, so we don't want to craft a prefix because there are potentially some really great prefixes that could come from beast crafting. So we want to craft a suffix so that we have an open suffix and an open prefix, giving us the ability to get anything. But we would like to block at least 1 bad modifier in the suffix, which in my opinion would be anything along the lines of accuracy, I suppose, or maybe mana regeneration, something that is not bad, but you know, none of these are bad. It's just that we want to have the opportunity to get something even better. Mana regeneration in the suffix because whatever, who cares? We can craft over this later. And then we're gonna go to the menagerie. And if you're not familiar with beast crafting, what you have to do is purchase the beasts from players, or maybe you already have them. A lot of people just already have them and never use them. Put the amulet in, and we're going to search for the word hunter. Add a mod to a hunter item. So this works interestingly. I'm not sure, I haven't researched it, and I don't believe it's been confirmed, but in my experience, this has added very good modifiers. It's gonna be funny if I add something garbage within this video, but in the past, when I've done this, I would say like 9 times out of 10, it's going to add something that's a high tier roll, and I'm usually happy with it. In order to do this, you need a Karasik Watcher and a Karasik Maw. The thing about this is that this is essentially an Exalt Slam, but it seems to be a weighted Exalt Slam, which means you get better things. And it might have to do with the item level, I'm not sure. But the Karasik Maws you can buy for about 20C each, and these are usually sold by people who sell them in big bulk. And the Karasik Watcher is the other one. Karasik, I don't know how to say it properly. These ones are cheaper. The Classic Maw is going to be your more expensive one. The Classic Watchers or the other secondaries are usually only about 5 to 6C each. So this is going to cost us a total of 25C, and it's literally an Exalt Slam. Except it seems to be an even better Exalt Slam. So it's insanely good value. Now, like I said, I'm not sure if the item level matters of these beasts, but as you can see, if you scroll down, you can find ones that are higher item level. So this is 82, 83, 81. I'm going to scroll down again and get another high level 80 whatever. Here's an 81. I don't know if this matters, but just to be safe, I have plenty of them. If you do Einhar missions in your maps, you'll have plenty of them as well. And we are now going to do this and see what we get. It's going to be either a prefix or a suffix, and hopefully it'll be a good one. And let's see what we get. All you do is just run around, kill the shit. Very easy. And once it's all dead, you have a new modifier, which is 36% increased global critical strike chance. Like I said, it seems to be weighted. A tier 1 global crit strike chance, that's really good. It's obviously not multiplier. Critical strike multiplier is usually more favored. However, that's really good. I'm very happy with that. And the cool thing is, we can actually do this again, because you can add a mod to a hunter item as many times as you want. And this time around, I'm going to keep the suffix crafted, because when a person is looking for an amulet, oftentimes they would appreciate an open suffix more than they would appreciate an open prefix. Because a suffix is something where you can craft stats, you can craft resistances. So if they like your amulet but they need cold resistance, or they like your amulet but they need like 15 more strength, they can buy it and just recraft over whatever you have crafted. It basically just opens you up to more potential buyers. So I'm going to do this one more time, another Exalt Slam with this hunter thing, if I have the beasts, which I do. Very nice. And yeah, we're gonna do it again and hopefully get another really good roll. So far, I haven't even price checked it yet, but with everything on Amulet right now, I'm pretty happy with it. So hopefully we get something else that's pretty cool. It's going to be a prefix, so it could be life, it could be energy shield, it could be another hunter modifier, and let's just do it again. Now this is going to be the low tier roll, I bet. Oh my goodness. Wow, so we got tier 2 maximum energy shield. Listen, this is not a fluke, I promise you. I bet you're watching the video right now thinking to yourself, like, this is bullshit, this guy's getting lucky. This happens all the fucking time. Beast crafting is insane. What you just witnessed is I put increased global crit strike chance on this amulet, tier 1, and I put tier 2 maximum energy shield for the cost of 25C each. That's ridiculous, okay? This amulet is insane, and it has an open suffix. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Now, in order for me to finish this amulet, I'm going to craft stats on it, because I have the catalyst, so it'll make it look a little bit better with some more stats. We can go ahead and do strength and intelligence, I suppose. And just to make it look pretty, I'm going to continue doing this till I get the perfect roll. There we go. It only took one more. And we are also going to bless it up, because you have to bless your amulets up, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't bless them up before you sell them, then you're just doing your buyer a disservice. So we have a amulet that has 28 to dexterity and intelligence, 30 to strength and intelligence, so a lot of stats, 25% spell damage, 44 maximum energy shield, 43 cold resistance, it penetrates elemental resistances, and it has increased global critical strike chance. I mean, what more could you ask for, right? This thing is fucking sick. It doesn't have the +1/+1s, but it's still going to be... So the truth is that with an amulet like this, there's like nothing on the market like it at the moment. So you can kind of set your own prices. However, you shouldn't really go too overboard with this. Because yes, this amulet might be worth 15 or 20 exalts, maybe even more, who knows. But if you really want to make profit, if you want to continue crafting and have money keep flowing back into your currency to craft with, you have to sort of be generous and give it to somebody for a decent price. Keep in mind, I bought the base for 20C, 19 actually. I spent about 150 alterations, which is very cheap this league. I spent some scours and some augmentations, of course, and some regals. So I would say with what I crafted on it, it cost about 30 to 45C. And then I spent 25C times 2, so I spent 50C on top of that. So I spent a little bit less than 100C to build the amulet. So if I sell this for 5 exalts, it's going to go to somebody who is going to enjoy the amulet for a decent price, a good price, and I'm going to have a ton of profit, and I'm going to be able to continue crafting. That's the idea. So I'll sell it for 7 exalts. So I just made this amulet from scratch, and you saw the process. I'm going to do it all over again, and we'll see if we can just keep making some good shit. I'm going to buy this one for 20C. Of course, like I said, it's more than I would usually spend, but for the sake of the video, with the low supply that seems to be occurring at the moment, I'm just going to spend about 5C more than I would usually spend and just continue crafting. 1 influence, item level 83, Onyx Amulet. Alrighty, starting with the scour. I'm going to buy more scours actually. I have 1 more scour remaining. Starting off with 4 catalysts. And let's get rolling. This is okay. Tier 1 intelligence with tier 3 spell damage. It could be decent. And tier 3 cold damage. You know, it's not bad. It actually is pretty good for certain builds. Let's just see. It has a lot of intelligence here. It's okay. You know, you could continue with this, but I'm not going to. It's cool. It's just I'd rather get something a little bit better. This is maybe great. So fizz damage over time and increase movement speed. Oh, and we got +1 to dexterity skill gems. Okay, now this is interesting. So first and foremost, the +1 is really nice. I'm not so sure about the movement speed. I'm not so sure about fizz damage over time. This could be insane though, honestly. I don't know. I'm not sure about this, but it looks potentially good. It does look potentially good. I'm going to ask Global about this. Let's see what they think. Okay, so I went ahead and consulted with the experts in the global chat that I frequent, and they've confirmed my suspicion that these modifiers together are not very sought after. Physical damage over time is the kind of build that is going to care about strength skill gems, not dexterity. So unfortunately, even though it has movement speed and that's really cool, the truth is that these 3 modifiers are just counterintuitive. They're not good together, which means, unfortunately, this thing is just not worth continuing with, especially considering that all 3 of these are influenced modifiers, which means we are actually unable to even do something like Awakener Orb crafting. It's basically just a bricked item, and we are going to continue Alteration spamming it. Oh, shit. Okay, well, this is nice. This is really nice. So we got the better of the 3. +1 to intelligence skill gems is quite valuable. As you can see, this is worth about 100C to 1 exalt just from the fact that it has this on it. But what I'm going to do instead is actually do an Awakener Orb craft with this item. So in order to find out what we would prefer to Awakener Orb craft, I believe I have something in mind already. But what we can do is go over here and search for intelligence skill gems, as well as I think physical is the way to go. Physical skill gems with intelligence skill gems is what people like to have, and make sure it's on an amulet, of course. And taking a look at this, we have 3 exalts, 5 exalts. So it looks like it's being listed for about 5 exalts minimum. This one's probably going to be sold quickly. This does look to be a pretty good amulet, to be honest with you. Now, to give yourself a better idea of what you're actually looking to get here, you can go down and search for Exalted Orb, make it like a max of 80 exalts or something, and then reverse the search so you're getting the expensive ones. And what you're seeing here is that people that have certain things like, this is obviously insane, this is a strength stacking amulet, but if you have like more stats, life with the +1s, crit chance, damage over time, any of these good mods as well as the +1s, and you're looking at amulets that are being listed from anywhere between 20 to 50 exalts. So that's what we're hoping for, and that's the reason why we are willing to spend a good amount of money on the craft itself. The first method in this video was done with only about 100C investment. This is going to be quite a bit more expensive. However, the nice thing about this is that because I already have my base here with +1 to intelligence, which is the most expensive one, the next thing is physical skill gems, which is cool that we already have our base because we don't care about the actual next amulet. All we care about is that it has this particular modifier. The item level doesn't matter. The base type does not matter. As long as it is an amulet and it has only this modifier and this one alone. So if you notice, this one is listed for 50C, but it does have a secondary Warlord modifier. So this would be a no-go. Don't make the mistake of using this. If you use an Awakener Orb on this, you might take this one instead of taking this one, and that's bad. This one is unfortunately the same situation. Same with this, and this, and this, and this. Just gotta keep scrolling down until you find one that does not have it, like that does not have a secondary Warlord, like this one, listed for 80C. Would you purchase this? Would you spend 80C for this? Ask yourself that question. I would say yes, and here is why. If you go to Craft of Exile, you will notice that the chance of getting +1 to physical skill gems on a amulet with a Warlord modifier is 390 alterations, 110 augmentations, which costs on average 69C. So you could craft it yourself. You totally could, but the problem is, so to purchase the base, you're going to spend like 5C anyways for the base, and then it's going to cost you on average 70C to craft it. You know, and of course you might get unlucky. It might cost you more because you're just not hitting the modifier. Keep in mind, something that's quite annoying about Warlord amulets is that you could also get fire skill gems. Same chance, same weight, which means if you hit fire skill gems 3 times in a row, you're going to go crazy because it's not the one you want. I've done that multiple times. It's quite annoying. So in my opinion, you know, you're going to spend the same amount on average if you just were to buy something that's already done for you like this. I have already prepared for this, however. We're going to pretend like the value added to my craft is going to be 80C. I already have, where is it? I already have this amulet ready to go for this exact purpose. And I already have an Awakener Orb, which costs about 2.3 exalts. So we are adding 80 chaos plus 2.3 exalts, which is going to be anywhere from, that's like 2.7 exalts or something. We are adding 2.7 exalts to the cost of this craft, as well as the fact that we've spent about 30 to 40C on rolling this amulet itself. So this craft is already going to be costing us about 3 exalts, a little bit more than 3 exalts. It's expensive. Like I said, the first method we did was cheap. This method is the expensive method. However, the reason why we're doing this is because the minimum price for an amulet of this type is about 3 to 5 exalts. And that is the worst case scenario. If you get an amulet that's truly awful, you might have to sell it for 2.5 to 2 exalts. That's just the risk you take for the potential of extreme profit. Because if you get some good modifiers, you can sell it for 20, 30, 40, 100 exalts, honestly. If you get some really nice modifiers, especially with the methods of continuing crafting, like beast crafting or whatever, you can make it into something that's worth a lot more than the 2.7 to 3 exalts you put into it. So we're going to go ahead and see what happens, because I'm ready to do this right now. Once again, before you do any of this, go ahead and double check. You want to make sure that you're starting the craft, that you're starting the process with the amulet that you would like to destroy, and make sure that it only has one modifier, one influence modifier, and make sure that your secondary amulet is the base that you would like to have at the end of the craft, and make sure once again it only has one influenced modifier. And then all you do is this and then this, and you see what you get. Okay, interesting. So I got a tier 4 maximum energy shield as well as a tier 5 DOT multiplier. Now here's the thing about this. The tiers are not good, but that's not quite important because the modifiers themselves are actually very good. Maximum ES is always nice, and the DOT multiplier is what we were seeing earlier, show up on a few of the expensive amulets on the market. So DOT multiplier is likely something that is actually welcomed in the craft. So where do we go from here? So far I'm pretty happy with it. I would say that I've at least made some profit, some pretty good profit here. But of course, we have the opportunity for a pretty epic beastcraft. We have open suffixes only. A high tier resistance or a high tier stat would be great. Of course, there are a few suffixes that could come from either Hunter or Warlord that could either be useless or could also be amazing. So if we get one of those, that'd be interesting. Hopefully I have, okay, I don't have that, but do I have, okay, I have Warlord. So important thing to note here is that this does not matter. Because this is double influenced, you can do either Warlord or Hunter. It does not make a difference. I could add a mod to a Warlord item and get a Hunter modifier. It does not matter. So I'm doing this just because this is what I have. And now we are going to add a suffix onto this, and let's see what we get. It's not guaranteed for a good roll, but it just helps you get a higher chance at a good roll. Okay, we only got 13 intelligence. So this is interesting because I get to show the fact that it's not guaranteed. We got a tier 9 roll. Not great. It's a little bit of extra intelligence. So it's, you know, it's not something that's bad. It's not something that they don't care about at all. Somebody who's buying this, who's going to care about Energy Shield, is definitely going to care a little bit about having some extra intelligence. If this modifier was like taking the spot of a potential craft, that would be bad. But because it's just like a little additional bonus, it's not going to hurt the value of the item. It's just something that's like, yeah, there you go. Have a little bit of extra intelligence. So the only thing left to do here is craft something. I'm going to craft stats. Can't craft intelligence, obviously. Let's just craft strength and dexterity. You know, why not? 24 is a decent roll, and we're going to bless up one more point here. So now we have a 19 all attributes, 13 intelligence, 28 strength and dexterity, with a tier 5 DOT and a tier 4 ES, +1/+1. So all things considered, the modifiers are pretty good. The tiers of them are not very good. However, it's still a pretty nice craft in my opinion. It's something I would sell for, I'm gonna guess, like 6 exalts. I'm gonna put it on the market for 6 exalts. And the truth is that overall it's not something that I'm very excited about, but it's just easy profit. I spent about 3 exalts on the whole thing, maybe like 3.5 considering the beastcraft and everything else. I'd say like 3.2, right? I'm gonna guess I spent about 3.2, and it's gonna sell for about 6, maybe 5 if I have to lower it. It's definitely not gonna sell for anything lower than 5. This thing is certainly worth at least 5. It's just, you know, that's just how you make money crafting. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. In my opinion, crafting is so much fun. I love doing this. The only downside is that sometimes it could take a little bit of time. Sometimes you don't get exactly what you're looking for. You just gotta keep trying until you hit that big item. Earlier, I sold something for 46 exalts. That's gonna happen to you as well if you just keep trying at it and enjoy the craft, because in my opinion, this is like the most fun I have in this game. I love crafting. It's a lot of fun. Learning how to do it well is a lot of fun, and yeah, thanks for watching.